that the other day, and it's like sash.
Well, I'd be like, bring me his breastplate. That's going to be really handy.
Yeah, that's true.
It'd be handy to have a spare breastplate or something.
Yeah, for sure.
Or sword. Yeah. So yeah, Battle of Vesuvius. Here we go. So this is us, being attacked by in this kind of valley, which you'll see represented in the landscape as well. We have underneath the campaign map is now it's effectively one giant battlefield for the entire campaign map. And so if you have a fight somewhere, if you have a battle somewhere, you have a battle like 2 miles down the road, you'll still you'll move further on, you'll see the same kind of terrain features in the outfield just 2 miles away. So it's really it's a really persistent kind of full full representation of the campaign map. So you can see all our poor Roman soldiers standing in the rain here. We're in deployment, so what I'm going to do, so part of the tutorial of this particular battle teaches you how to use skirmishers. So what I'm going to do is get my skirmishers lined up right at the front of my army here, and I'm going to take my core heavy infantry, and these are going to be the backbone. These are going to be like the back line of my fighting force here today at this battle. I'm going to stick my general here, so his circular morale buff is, you can see the blue outline there. That's his kind of morale boost radius. And I've got a unit of Italian swordsmen here who are actually pretty nifty fighters. What I'm going to do is pop them up here in the woods and hide them away, and use them as a flanking force. So, right, as the battle starts, you can see these fancy new eye icons here. These are kind of visual representations of the of our new line of sight system. So what this is really representing is that enemy units, the enemy currently can't see me. We know from deployment zones that the enemy was deployed down here somewhere, but there's a series of low bluffs and hills here. So we're behind here. Anywhere, wherever the enemy is, they can't see us, and we're stealthed effectively right now.
On your left there, is that the fort that we deployed?
Yeah, so you can see it's got a capture point in it there.
Okay.
Now what we could do is, place troops in here and bottleneck the doorway there. So, but right now I'm feeling like I want to have the freedom to manoeuvre because I've got a fair amount of forces. So, so what I'm doing is just moving my skirmishers up to try and get a peek on the enemy. Already you can see the banners starting to appear as my skirmishers uncover them, as it were. And you can see they're kind of fading in and out, so now they've gone out of my line of sight, so I can't see them anymore. So that's how the line of sight system works. See, we're going downhill, these are going to start disappearing.
The Sam Knights are sending javelins against us. They mean to disrupt our line before their infantry.
So it seems like we're definitely outnumbered.
Yeah, we are. What we're going to try and do is draw out his skirmishers and try and separate them from the rest of the army, and try and deal with those guys first before we deal with the main body of the the trained melee fighters effectively of his army.
We can use our cavalry to chase them off.
Thankfully, we've just been gifted 4 units of cavalry.
There we go.
That's going to be kind of handy as well.
That's helpful.
And we do like a good flank round here, so that's what I should be using.
Who doesn't?
Exactly.
Is there any meaningful difference between cavalry in Rome 2 and Shogun?
Only in that in that you've just got a much greater variety of cavalry which perform depending on the cavalry slightly different roles. So because Shogun 2 was a monoculture game, right? So you had your your kind of katana cavalry and your yari spear cavalry. Now we've just got a lot more kind of varieties of cavalry and different animals as well. I mean, we've got camels, and they horses don't like camels.
Camelry.
Right? Yeah, camelry. Exactly. Yeah. We got elephants as well. That's a form of a very, very dangerous form of cavalry. Let's get these guys running. Right, where's my Italian swordsman? Right, I want to get you hidden away in the woods here if we can.
So while you're playing this battle, you mentioned about internal politics. It sounds like you're you're playing as a house rather than as a faction.
Exactly. Yeah.
Works?
So
okay.
you've got if you're playing as Rome, then you've got Rome is the faction, but you've got houses within that faction. You've got the Julia, the Junia, and the Cornelia. All these guys are quite close now. So what I'm going to do is engage skirmish mode, and which means when actually they're a bit closer than I was expecting. I'm going to pull these guys back. With skirmish mode, what happens is you'll tell your guys to go and attack so they'll stand at a decent range, and they'll fire their weapons. So slingers in this case, they've all got slings, and they'll then. If the enemy gets too close, they'll run away to a safe distance before turning and firing again. Although I'm just directly controlling them now because they're being chased. So, although these guys are stealthed away, I'm going to try and pull the because these are all his skirmishers. They're not heavy troops. They're mostly just javelin men. Lightly armed. So if we pull these guys up here towards my cavalry and my my hidden infantry here. So my cavalry is still stealthed, and that's So what I'm going to do is send my swordsmen in. Right, they've spotted them. They started firing. So these guys are hopefully going to focus on these guys, and I'm going to get my skirmishers to turn and start firing at those. So I've got one guy from my skirmish group who got separated in that battle.
He's the one with the banner too.
Yeah. Right, so my Italian swordsmen are getting tore in now. That's nice. You can see a small example of the massive range of new combat animations we've got in the game.
It sounds like they have a lot more situational unit barks and stuff too. Yeah,
they do. There's just tons and tons of sort of incidental little conversations I have amongst one another. It's really fun actually, at the start of a battle, if you're just waiting for the enemy to come towards you, just get your camera down, lock it to a unit, and then just listen to them, because they're all like, pulling each other's leg and going, oh, well, I wouldn't give for a skin of wine right now, and they're just chatting away, doing what soldiers do, insulting each other's mothers, that sort of thing.
Yeah, of course.
It's all good. Right, I'm going to get these guys into a nice combat formation now, so I'm going to put them all into the flying wedge. So they've got a nice, punch through type of shape here. Right, looks like my Italian swordsmen have been they're being nobbled right now. You can see that they're starting to waver. So I might pull my skirmishers back a little bit further here. You can see the body of the main force is starting to approach now.
The main body of the enemy are advancing.
There we are. Exactly.
As if on cue.
Yes. I have trained him well. Right, let's get the cav in. Right, what I'm going to do with my cav as well is I'm going to activate Draco, which is one of their unit abilities. So it has it. Can you see this? It's had a morale debuff on these guys. You can see the effect happening there, and already look, they're starting to break, and that's them, sounding their horns and crying battle cries as they charge in. So alright, I think we've comprehensively finished their skirmishes. So I'm going to pull my horsemen back again. So what have we got coming towards us? We've got swordsmen, we've got a mob.
Oh good.
Oh. Angry farmers, basically.
Yeah.
Oh look, being led by a proper commander there as well.
That's the guy that somehow pissed off the governor.
Yeah, he's like, you get the mob.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Try to keep these guys in line.
Yeah. Yeah, you lost that last battle.
Yeah.
You don't get to play with good soldiers now. Right. What I'm going to do is bring my skirmishers up front as a kind of defense line. Actually, no, let's go and have a play with them, actually. Right, look, they're going for my cav. That's interesting. And they're downhill from me.
Yeah,
now,
charging uphill against a bunch of cavalry.
Yeah.
That seems like a sound strategy right there.
I might go and teach him the error of his ways. Now, the trick here is to not let my cavalry get engaged for too long, not let get them bogged down in combat, because these aren't particularly heavy cavalry, and they don't stick around too long if you. Oh, look at that! You see that?
It's like bowling.
Yeah, that's that's the mass system coming to effect. All our units have a mass rating now, and if you're running downhill, you're going to hit that much harder, and if you're much heavier than the enemy, then you're going to knock them over.
So could you charge a line of horses with a line of elephants and send the horses flying?
Yeah, well, you can knock them down pretty easy, yeah. I mean, you'll certainly send the guys on the backs fire.
Yeah.
I don't think we do flying horses yet.
Maybe for an expansion
No
pack.
Pegasus.
Yeah. The flying horses pack. Yeah. Right, this is good. They've taken note of my major force here. They've spotted them, so they're going to come in and... Right, these guys are in skirmish mode still, so that's good. So they're going to scoot once they worried about getting too close to the enemy. Now I've got to just keep hitting, sort of hitting and running with my cavalry here. Now I want to build some flanks here as well. I want to wrap these guys up if I can. I'm worried that my horses might need some kind of relief force here because they're really they're bogged down in that combat and they're finding it really hard to disengage.
Your very presence can sway this battle. Your words can rally and inspire the men.
So I'm going to use my general on cue with the commander there to inspire one of my cavalry units. So let's get it on those ones. So those guys are just going to fight harder and faster than they did before. But of course, you want to keep your general out of harm's way. You lose your general, and you'll face a massive morale debuff right across your army. Oh look, you've presented your flanks, you fool! Look, there we are. Keep one of my units disengaged there. Yep, he wants to get to my general, I can tell. How am I cav doing up here? Not too great, actually. Can I disengage them? That's the question. Right, let's try and get these guys enveloped. Well, we hope Samuel shall fall.
Yeah.
That's kind of up to me.
Well, you were talking about the houses system before. Does that?
Sorry, yeah.
Did that work?
Carried away.
No. Does that work the same for the Eastern and the Roman and the Barbarian factions?
No, not entirely. I mean, the only two factions that have sort of multiple internal houses are Rome and Carthage. So,
okay.
So Rome gets the Julia, the Junior, and Cornelia. And whichever you play will add, extra bonuses or extra changes to your kind of your standard faction starting traits. So you'll depending on the house that you choose, you'll have modifications to your faction traits basically. And Carthage is the same. Carthage has three well, they're not really families, they're more political entities. They're the Barkids. So Hannibal Barca, he was one of the Barkids. So you've got the Barkids, the Hananids, and the Manganids, I think it is. So they're the three kind of internal families. For the other factions, for the Eastern and Barbarian factions, and sort of Ptolemaic Egypt, you've only got you've got one ruling house basically. So there's kind of less to do with the politics, although you'll still. One of the key features of politics is dealing with subjects who are these kind of characters who appear over time in your empire, which you need to deal with in some way, So you have to use your kind of political capital, expend it to, to deal with them. So you might have a famous gladiator appear, for example, who is incredibly popular with the people, and he's a hero of the people because he wins every fight in the arena. So you kind of want him in your pocket really as the leader. So what do? You'll get a list of choices about what you want to do with him, and if you do sort of keep him on your side, then what if your patronage just leads to him becoming more powerful and more wealthy? And I can think of a certain gladiator who caused his emperor a few problems.
Right.
Let's talk about the Servile War.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So we're doing okay here. I'm really looking for this bit to be over here soon.
These units we're seeing here are pretty low-tech units. We're not up to like the Roman legions yet.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So there's no kind of triarii, kind of super heavy veterans or anything like that here. These are your your basic starting types. And with levy slingers, they're just guys with a bit of rope and a couple of stones in their pocket. There's no kind of there's no elegance in that in that piece of weaponry. There's no high design.
So with with Rome and kind of the provinces, we have a lot of historical examples of how their military and their technology changed as they became more powerful.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm curious if you guys have gone into any sort of like speculation territory there with the barbarian factions. If they do a lot better than they did historically, if they will eventually get the same kind of higher tech units.
Well, yeah. I mean, every faction has its tech trees. It has its it has its building chains, and there are top tier building chains, buildings in the building chains, for example, which give you, access to, high tech units, for example. So yeah, every faction has a concurrent sort of, technology range, technology arc that it goes up to, achieve higher level units effectively. There is an equivalent of the kind of Marian reforms of history in, when you're playing as Rome, you get to a point when it's suddenly like you get, a strong level of standardization and quality of base level of quality with your troops. So there we are. I did a lot better there than the last time I played it, where I got my general destroyed quite early on, and my entire army routed.
Yeah.
So that could have been.
Don't
worse.
want that to happen.
Yeah, that's a bad thing. So yeah, that's a kind of basic look at the prologue. Anyway,
okay.
Obviously this is only a kind of tiny slice of the full campaign game. And it doesn't cover out absolutely every feature, but it's a good intro to the game, and it's 3 hours of really fun play in its own right as well. So
does your progress in the prologue carry into the campaign at all?
No, they're separate.
Okay.
So yeah, this is a completely self-contained kind of thing. So and of course it's just you playing as Rome finding its feet as as the dominant force in Italy. So when you first start the campaign game, you play as Rome. It's you working out from Rome to sort of conquer the rest of the world, or convert the rest of the world, because we've got multiple sort of victory conditions in Rome too. So which is the first time we've ever had that. We've got cultural victories now as well, where you can you can flip other cultures. You can persuade them that your way of life is better. Go and play as the Parthians and go, yes, join our enjoy our Eastern ways. And you can win an economic victory as well. So you can hit a series of economic milestones and complete the game that way. And obviously it's a total war game, so you're not you're not going to be without battles. Let's put it that way.
Right, you're not going to be playing Rome total money.
Exactly. Yeah. And the thing is, you don't have to choose at the start how you want to, which kind of challenge that you want. You can if you realise that you're quite close to getting an economic victory just because of the way you've played the game, even though you've been playing you may have been playing an aggressive kind of game, then you can still opt to win under sort of economic terms. So
great. Well, thanks for the walkthrough, Al.
My pleasure.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
We're going to get him to attack the city, and I guess we'll leave it there, and then players can get their hands on it in 6 or 7 weeks. It's 3rd of September we're out, so
yep,
it's not that far now. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Terrific. Thanks again for the
Good
demo.
stuff. My pleasure.